just gonna build the platform and build.
How's it going, everybody? My name's Dev. That's the challenge.
Support equals support.
I'm trapped in New Mexico, you know, and
Stay beautiful. Stay beautiful. Stay beautiful.
What's going on, guys? It's Dev here, Coach B, you know who it be, and our special guests, Kyle Dammit and Justin Merrill.
Welcome.
What's going on, guys? So today, if you already knew, we had the advertisement up, but we are having our artificial intelligence roundtable today. We were going to have it, what was it, like about 2 weeks ago, but some things happened. So now we're here, we're live and direct, and today we're going to talk about some artificial intelligence. But first, someone hand me the Doritos.
Did you just give them a selfless plug, bro? We
Frito,
didn't get a check, bro.
We're sending. What did you say? We're sending an invoice to Frito Lay.
Yeah, send them an invoice.
Well, yeah, that's what we're going to do after that. We're going to send an invoice to them because you are promoting it to death right now.
What would you want me to like put a sticker over the front of it?
Yeah.
And call it faux Ritos or something?
Just call it whatever we want to call it because we're not getting a check from them. But anyway, what's going on, guys? Hey, man, thanks for coming. Actually, you said we were trying to do this 2 days ago. I was trying to do this for the longest. I've been bugging you to get some people to talk about AI, and let's get deep into it. And now we finally got some guests to do that.
Yeah, like I said, how long? No, it was really long too. It was probably since we actually started bridging the gap.
Yeah,
Probably right
on
on time.
it.
He knew a guy who was doing like computer programming and stuff, and that's kind of how. So what was his name? Somewhere upstairs. Regardless, that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, Omar.
Yeah, like I said, let's go ahead and just use this time also as well. Justin, Kyle, if you have any shameless plug information that you want to plug, go ahead, do it now, or forever hold your peace.
Jeez. How about at the end?
No.
You're doing it now? Okay, ready?
Beginning, middle, end. You're getting a shot. You might as well take it.
All right. I'll go both, the beginning and the end. Then how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me this is really cool because this sits at the intersection of with AI threatening jobs and automation and the different things that it can do for us. It also represents, if we don't evolve with it, then we could find ourselves in the lurch too of being out of a job because of it. And for me, it's all about helping people keep up with the times in terms of technology, marketing, digital marketing, how to promote your business online, and artificial intelligence is affecting marketing and advertising just as much as it's affecting any other industry. So, that's the small piece I bring to this, and anybody who's interested in marketing their business or starting a business and getting off on the right foot, that's what I can help do. And but other than that, I'm here to help you guys and talk about my small world here
of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. And you'll see a lot more coming up with you because we have something in the works that we'll be working together. And there'll be a whole bunch of promotion going on for that. So awesome for you showing up.
Justin.
How you doing, Justin?
Hey, thanks for having me here, guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
I really appreciate you guys streaming here live at Catalyst Space.
Catalyst
Shout out to
Space.
Catalyst.
This topic is definitely interesting right now because unlike you guys who do marketing, I'm not a marketer myself, but have been looking into doing like Facebook advertisements. But being a little bit technical, I'm looking behind the scenes. How is Facebook looking at their lookalike audiences, building up these profiles of individuals, and then targeting that to get more people here using the resources available at Catalyst Space.
And just to say, thanks for we get in the mix. We'll bring some more people in here. It might get a little hectic, though. Are you for that? Because that's what you might have to find us a whole building, and you just say, you guys go there. And but no, I think it's an excellent that you can come to a place like this, and we can sit down and meet people, and that we can build on what everybody's building on and network. So thanks.
Yeah. So let's actually get into the nitty-gritty of artificial intelligence. Guys, what is artificial intelligence? Like, what is like the definition of it? Like, what is it?
You want to start?
What is artificial intelligence?
I would consider it. I would consider it. It's intelligence that's not human. It's crafted. I would say it's made. It's imitated, maybe, perhaps, and it
I
does.
definitely like that word, imitated.
It's
imitated. Intelligence.
Imitated intelligence. It almost sounds like, I don't know. I was going to say something about idiot intelligence, but then I'm an idiot, so forget it. Anyway, yeah, but the thing I was thinking about with artificial intelligence, right, is the good things. You know, I was thinking about self-driving cars. You better pick that up. You better pick that phone up. Someone's on the line. But anyway, yeah, artificial intelligence is the thing I think about is like the good things about it. You know, driving cars, self-driving cars, being able to have like pick out keywords and things for your phrases of looking, basically your search history. I mean, they can look out things that you have and basically form a almost who you are in a sense, in a marketing standpoint. Actually, I think us and Kyle and us, we talked about that on the show we did with him probably about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you know, what are some benefits you guys, everybody here, think about artificial intelligence? Like, what good stuff is artificial intelligence?
I think every pro is a con, and depending on which way you look at it. I think to me to zoom out, because it can get hysterical quickly. Humans tend to anthropomorphize things, which means to give it a human concept or to give it human emotions. And programming human emotions is probably going to be one of the harder things to do into a robot in terms of contextual awareness, in terms of an actual robot being a robot. And I'm sure you see this, like most applications for artificial intelligence at this point are not like Rosie the robot walking doing your dishes. It's kind of like, okay, well, this thing over here has a sensor, and then it knows how to make decisions based on the data it's getting. And I think people can all just chill out a little bit on and killer robots taking over the world. And there's some really good ones on Instagram that maybe you've seen too. It's Boston Dynamics does posts. It's a Boston Dynamics laboratory. It's one of the universities in Boston, and they have some interesting quadruped robots that run around a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then there's a really sharp CGI crew that are putting out Bosstown Dynamics. They put a W in it. And they make robot CGI style. Did you see any of these?
Oh, I love that.
Is it the one? Is it the one where I want to say I saw it?
Out to Quarter Digital.
Is that who does that?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Quarter
say
Digital. They're amazing.
Oh, fantastic.
I wanted to say, okay, so I'm guessing, is this one of the videos where like there's one of the four-legged dog robots walking, and then there's like one of the two-legged ones robots there, and then it takes a gun and shoots at all the people's feet, picks up the robot dog and runs away. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Gotcha.
They take the original things that are basic but advanced. Each year you see Boston Dynamics putting out like, okay, this is their state-of-the-art robot. You know, it can walk, it can jump, it can run. But then these people with the CGI, what would you say? Who'd you say they were again?
Quarter Digital.
Quarter Digital takes these things, and then you can't tell it's not. The CGI is so sharp. You're like, whoa, is this the next version of this? Well, it's only basically a cartoon at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Now, and Dev's saying like the good things. I sit like I'm a kind of a skeptic, I would say, conspiracy
He's
kind
the
of
Terminator guy coming. The Terminators are coming tomorrow morning. Pack up your kids. Pack up your life.
But I'm gonna stay on the good things because it's always good. Like you can grow. Like we were talking about earlier about how just with the phone, like the age that I'm at, I was at a rotary phone, and then all of a sudden I got culture shocked with technology of a phone. Advance quicker, get the information we need to build what we're building quicker. But the disadvantage to those things, is there a disadvantage instead of just human contact? Like me and you sitting down and not like texting or anything, me and you just sitting like we're sitting right now. Is there a better advantage for us to get things done, or just like should we use the technology and just accept it?
Yeah, that's a tough tide to face, right? I mean, in terms of you're going to fight it, I mean, you kind of got to work with the momentum of the times. If you ask me, I don't get too morally bent on one way or the other. But man, if it's what you got to do, the interface with the world, and especially if you're in a business, like who's your buying public, and if that's where they're at, and you can interface with them there far more cheaply than you could anywhere else. Speaking of Facebook and their artificial intelligence. Outside of maybe the government, I don't know what the government's spending on AI, but I'm sure it's a lot.
Oh
no,
man.
yeah, oh my goodness,
they're spending way much on that.
Yeah, I mean,
but outside of that, Devin, Facebook, you think about what they're dumping into their AI. You know, the way that they serve ads is this very, you know, layered and complex process. So you know, their AI robot, whatever that is, it's called a narrow AI. And so it's not like trying to do your dishes and then do your homework. It serves ads. That's all it does.
Yeah, it has
Right.
one purpose. But I mean, what that AI can do, especially from like what we said, marketing and how it can be dangerous. Digital
Yeah.
online marketing. It can be dangerous because
In election times and stuff, yeah.
yeah, because they can basically search you out and target you with these advertisements
Based on your likes and interests.
right, and get it. But now honestly, I'm not so mad about it because say they give me a product that I genuinely might want, then I can't be mad like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. But at the same time,
It gets creepy.
it gets creepy whenever like you're talking about something. We tell this story. We told this story on Monday's episode. We talked about this. The story about how we were talking to Devin Fagan. We had an interview with him, and he said about he wanted to be a lineman. He wanted to work doing power lines, and not,
In the boardroom.
In the boardroom.
At the Catalyst. My phone was there. Dev's wasn't.
And guess we leave the room 15 minutes later. An advertisement for lineman schools comes up on his phone. Coach has no prospects of being a lineman anytime soon.
Lineman, when I heard lineman, I'm thinking football. Like, let's get out. What are we doing? We're about to, we're about to get into football.
stance.
But it was lineman, the lineman, the occupation. And I'm like, why is this on my phone right now? And I showed Dev, and I was like, they're listening to us, bro. And I would like to give pats on the back to us for saying that we're that dope, but we're not that point right now. But I guess it's those algorithms, and that's where I get the touchiness to it. The programmers. It's not the technology. I'm thinking about the programmers.
The intent,
Are they making something that passes the whatever firewalls they have to make sure nobody does it? Can they sneak past it and put something out there, and then just because they're sick and twisted, that 10 years from now, that technology that we're using, it could turn around on us? I think like that. I'm sorry. I go home and think like that. I would love to just think of the best uses of all of it, but let's be honest, man. Let's really be
Somebody's
honest.
out there trying to
Yeah.
get credit card numbers, whatever it is, automate
Right.
that with
Right.
artificial
Now,
intelligence.
I wanted to go to Justin on this because he was saying this right before, as we started the show. He's not familiar with the marketing. This is correct. Like you were thinking about the marketing side of it because you're more of the practical, technical side of technology. So, would you know anything practically applicable to what AI is and how it functions? Kind of like how he was saying about the narrow AI and everything. Like, do you know anything specifically about it?
So with AI, what it's really looking for is, and what it needs initially is a lot of data, and then you have a program that essentially looks for patterns that would be almost impossible for humans to identify. I mean, you're just giving it just numbers, just millions of data points, and you're saying, all right, take this information and make sense of it. I mean, you could never sit down and find that. And then that's where these programmers like Google employees, they say they don't know what the algorithm is actually doing because they give it an instruction. They say, all right, YouTube, here are data points, watch times, videos that are being watched, links of the videos, all these different inputs, and says your goal is to lengthen the view time on YouTube. So it's like a black box because now you dump in these data points and the algorithm is feeding you videos that it thinks is going to keep you on YouTube the longest. But the programmers have no idea what is actually being done. All that they know is this is the data points that went in, and somehow that gave you, it fed this video to you to keep you enticed with it.
So what you're saying, and maybe I missed a vital part
So
of the
spicy
information.
chips.
Maybe
The jalapenos.
They're good. They're my favorite spicy nacho.
They're good.
First
Bro,
off,
stop
Doritos.
giving plugs unless you're sending out the invoice.
Now
He's
he's
got a contract. Nobody knows.
Yeah, said like we need to like Frito Lay like. But anyway, because maybe I missed a vital piece of information. So you're saying the programmers so the people that make the AI, right? The programmers, they create this essentially this thinking process, or I don't know how to really describe it. That it can take in data and then based on what results it's trying to get can make that. The programmers don't know how it does it. It's just saying based on this criterion data, you need to make this. or like an end goal? Does it have like some kind of end goal in mind, or?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, you assign the program an end goal, and you feed it a bunch of data, and you say, all right, with this data, achieve this goal. I mean at a high level. But all this AI is relying on a massive amount of data. A great example is Tesla with their self-driving cars. Before they actually implemented that feature, all their vehicles had the cameras on it, had all their sensors gathering the data from millions, or not millions, but thousands of drivers on the road collecting actual data. Then they were able to use that and implement the self-driving feature. But without collecting that data
beforehand.
Are they collecting, when you're saying that, I totally get it. When they're collecting that data, are they uploading it into the algorithm on like live, like time, like when it's happening, and like I have an algorithm for that to say, we're going to do it as quick as possible? Or are they taking it, gathering it, and then analyzing it and say, okay, it's safe to put it in there? Do you think like it's just like they're just going like thinking money, we have to do this fast, or are they going to really think about it? Because to me, I don't want to get in a self-driving car right now. I'm not trusting that.
I was thinking about that. That's what I was thinking about saying. Self-driving cars. I'm not sold on that because it's so early. Like imagine getting a car like the Google car and driving around in it and like something happens. Now, me and Coach had this conversation about insurance companies. They probably benefit a lot from that because of the car safety involved. Maybe the cars don't run into each other as much or whatever because it takes out the operator error. But who's going to eventually be held responsible? Because that would mean like Google would probably end up being responsible for any accident if we all had self-driving cars, wouldn't they? Or whoever makes the self-driving.
Don't you get a waiver in the Tesla dashboard?
Yeah, they're gonna make sure you get a waiver before you're able to get that.
This crashes,
but in saying like, do you think that that's what's happening? Like they're giving the information, like they're gathering the info. How quick do you think that like a test study on it before they're giving us the technology? That's what I'm kind of concerned about. Like because we don't have no like test studies like you have on drugs. You usually can go back and look like years at it. Physical stuff, but the technology, where's that at? Like, are they test studying it, or are we just getting it, being like, okay?
And to me, what you're bringing up, what's the government oversight on? The quality of the testing, right? And are they rushing it? Are they just going right from the car to the other cars or whatever?
It drives all right over 40 miles an hour. Like it goes to 45 and it can drive okay. We'll just take it out. It doesn't run into.
And how long is the test study before they give us this technology?
It's already happening. Like, they're just rolling stuff out. It seems like
fresh out.
Yeah.
Fresh out. And that's kind of scary to me. Coming from where I come from, I know we discussed ages and age. That's why we do Bridging the Gap, and the differences. The technology is, I've been around with I've seen technology in my time, but it's so fast right now. Yeah. And I'm kind of concerned about who is okaying these things. You know what I mean? Is it going to demise us one day, or is it just going to make us quicker and faster? Like you guys were saying earlier, I think you're saying I choose to look at the positives of it, and it's helping me get through, you know what I mean? And you have to just deal with it to get along with today's society. But do you go at home at night and just be like, this is weird, yo. This is kind of weird. What's going on with technology? I don't want to say it because I still got to do this, but it's kind of weird. Does that ever happen to you?
I think going back to the Boston Dynamics video, the actual Boston Dynamics released their little 1 minute clip of demonstrating their robot, and in it they have a humanoid robot that can stand up 2 legs, and it's actually doing flips.
You're right.
Landing the flips perfectly. Like at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, we're a little further along than.
What's going on? Yeah.
Those are the ones that can I guess always bring in those questions of concern. It's like,
like I saw one that was actually running across it was taking bounds
jumps
this.
On tables.
Yeah, one leg was taking a bound of 4 feet or something just on one. I'm like, that's scary. Imagine how much force is underneath its foot as it does that.
Powerful, yeah.
Yeah, and it's enough to crush your skull.
Oh yeah, and saying that also, I looked up the definition. I don't know the exact words, but when I looked up it's basically saying that it starts from the programming. That's artificial intelligence. It's not something you're seeing doing something. Yeah. It's the program. You know what I mean? Like
That's
the algorithm. Can I come up with an algorithm right now?
Yeah.
That
But you
could-
need the data to back it up. You need good
Yes.
data, a mountain of good data,
Mountain, yeah.
and then you need a sequence of if then. All the artificial intelligence is a stack of if then processes, right? It basically says if data is this, then this. If data is this, then this, and it's just millions of lines of code stacked on that. It's not really. It doesn't really perceive. It doesn't really think like we do. But it's running input output and processing as per exactly as you say what the programmer's doing, better or worse.
Right.
So I think it's important to recognize, and as these things become more humanoid, I watch the things, and I think you, even maybe when it was the real video or the not, one of the guys kicked the dog over and like pushed it with his foot, and the dog kind of did this and recame, and like the immediate thing I felt for that was sympathy, and I'm like, oh, so good guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
was
this
that
is-
programmed
it just
to
like
make
hit
you
me.
feel sympathy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, are we
Yeah.
gonna have sympathy for these robots? Are they gonna have rights? You know, did anybody ever see the
Is
movie
there,
AI?
Dev, are
AI?
you gonna marry a robot?
Yes.
See?
Well, hold on. Is she hot?
Is she hot?
Is she
I might
hot? Like,
marry
hold
her.
on. Like,
I think in Japan those are big. There's a lot of the robot.
yeah, but I mean, those aren't really. Let's be real. Like, those are just dolls.
Blow up
basically.
dolls.
Yeah, like
Porn up, blow up doll. But no, I could see that. I remember my childhood, something that affected me when I forget the name of it. Johnny Number 5. It was like 85. I forget the name of the movie. That was the
Johnny Number 5.
Johnny Number 5. It was a robot, and what's his name? Gutenberg, John Gutenberg, whatever his name is. He kind of got attached to a AI source, and that's what he kind of do. He made decisions off of feeling remorse or comfort for that. You know what I mean? And the robot was basically like on a program where it couldn't feel it back, so it was gonna make decisions and let him down. Do we feel like that is coming? Like, I don't want to attach myself to somebody. I can't go in the backyard when you piss me off, and we can work it out. You know what I mean? You can't do that with a robot. You can't. You know, not so I won't get too close to it.
now,
Yeah.
now you were saying about the movie AI.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
That was, remember, who was the kid in The Sixth Sense? Remember The Sixth Sense? You were probably a little young. for
Yeah,
that.
but I do remember it. Didn't it have?
remember
Yeah, I remember what
okay.
you're talking
I'm going to
about.
look it up if we want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Get
Yeah,
it
we
when
got.
you come back.
We got that. We got that.
I
here.
forget his name. He's one of those child
But I
actors.
did
Made
see.
a couple.
I think I saw
Looks
Singularity.
totally different now, though. By the way.
I think I remember seeing Is it Singularity? It's like the one where like there's like satellites and stuff, and like there's like this guy. She like basically recreates her husband's mind or something in this like facility.
Sounds like Transcendence.
Transcendence. That's what that is. Never
yeah,
mind. That's
Johnny
what.
Depp.
Johnny
Yeah, with Johnny Depp, good old Johnny. He can act in some
Good
movies.
concept, terrible movie though.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
that
they
was
just-
one of Johnny's bad. Well, Johnny had a couple bad ones.
Yeah,
Great actor, but he had a couple bad ones.
Yeah, he needs the right character, I think. Johnny.
Yeah,
does.
he's just
See, this is
taking
what I
a
meant
picture.
by like we're gonna go a little bit off the tangent here.
We'll go
That-
off and on and off. Don't you know what I mean?
Haley Joel Osment.
That's him. Little blonde kid with like he got a bowl cut.
Show me the cover
I
of the
believe
AI.
it was a Spielberg movie. It brings up all of those conversations because basically it's hundreds of years in the future, and this is a kid robot that is like, you know, he's like, when you can't have children, like you bring him into the house or whatever because mom couldn't have a third child, so
Right.
they brought him in, and like this robot has been made to feel. The only thing it can't do is eat, but it wants to be a part of the family. They give it desire. They program desire into it. It's you can't tell it's a robot except for like there's a panel that they open up on them, right? Mm-hmm. And so the long and short of it is like, okay, they get this robot, they cost a lot of money, get him in, but then the kids start fighting with it, and then the robot ends up fighting one of the kids or something, and then so they send this robot to like the place where all the robots go when they're done, and like this robot is programmed to live because of its power pack. It lives for hundreds of years. So like it's still longing for that original family, and it shows this journey of where it's going for hundreds of years as an orphan with other robots, and then these factions start where there's like anti-AI crowd, anti-mecha, mecha and biological, I think it's bios or whatever they call it.
Okay.
And so there's like two factions, and then these people love to go and smash the robots, and you actually start feeling compassion for the feeling robots, and it takes you down that road of, okay, is this where this is headed?
Right.
It really makes you think.
And it's that day, like you wanna look at it and say, like I said, like we talked about, I'm an old school type of guy. I'm kind of weary about it. You guys are a little younger in that, like this is where we have to get on board and
gotta
learn
face it. Yeah,
everything, and you gotta face
yeah,
it.
grab it by the horns.
I just don't like understand like the okay, we have to do it this way because that's where it's going, per se, like, or is there like because we're saying it I'm saying it in the manner like maybe one day that's going to turn against us because we gave it so much knowledge, we might even give it feelings. You know what I mean? And then it's going to make an educated guess. Like, do we want AI making educated guesses on how we feel? It's kind of weird to me, man.
I don't know.
It really is. I love technology.
If AI perfectly imitated humans, right? I don't think they would say they would think just like us then, and in that case, then they would be like us in the same sense that I think they would show compassion and sympathy. It would be a point whenever AI would say humans are because of their logicalness or what have you, because that would be the difference, though. If an AI would have to perfectly imitate a human, it would have to have a rationality. That's
which is a certain data set, a certain sensor set, right? A certain way for it to feel, and then put that feedback back out. I don't know what those tools would be, but
yeah, it would have. But it would, like I said, like it would have to be like it couldn't be right because when I think of an AI or a computer, it's going to be right most of the time. It's going to be logically thinking based on the information it gets, right? And maybe I would say humans are very similar to that in the sense that they make bad decisions, but most times they know what's right based on the set of data. They know, like, if I do this, then this is probably going to happen, and that's no good. But if they perfectly imitated humans, I would think that they would have to act like humans in a sense. They would have to have emotion and sympathy and compassion, or else then they wouldn't really be humans, I would say. They would disassociate. Well, I mean, not human, but human-like, human mind, if that was the real case. So what we really would have to be worried about, to me, isn't that AI becomes human-like, because that's actually the best possible thing that could happen in the two scenarios. The other one would be that it becomes like almost of a higher intelligence where it sees us as not just a threat to ourselves, but just a threat to them, and also something that's just
it overrides the program.
It's like it basically says these people aren't worth. They're not worth it. They're a danger and a threat to the planet, to everything. But at the same time, the AI would have to be thinking: is that going to be something that really matters in the long run? Like, do they have a concept of the Earth saying we want to take care of the Earth?
Yeah.
And
what's there?
It's like the plot line with iRobot.
Yeah, iRobot.
Exactly.
If they took Justin, if they you didn't have tomorrow morning, you wake up and whoever you are spiritual with says you can't use your technology anymore, what would you do?
Nothing.
You'd sit at home?
Yeah, there'd be nothing to do.
There would be nothing to do.
You'd be like, "What are you talking about? This is my job.
I have to have this phone. I have to have this."
Do you want a house? That's what you would say. Do you want to live somewhere? We this is our job. We work with technology every day.
Right.
I mean, it's our job. Like, if someone said we can't work with technology, see ya. I think a girl would be like, "Yeah, Devin, you can't use a computer anymore." I'd be like, "Oh, that's a shame, because you can't be my girlfriend anymore. That's a shame."
And going forward too, like, I see the positivities of it because you're going to be able to mass produce whatever, and that'll help.
Well, things just keep getting cheaper. I don't know if you guys have noticed, like, goods in general, from the time when your parents grew up to the time you were and same more for my parents too, their generation, like, they went through a massive inflation through the Carter years, and like there was a lot of inflation. Gas prices, quadrupled. Goods and services went up a lot. Like, but for me growing up in my generation, being 35, born in 1984, like, we didn't go through that big inflation curve that happened back then. So, and I think it's largely fueled because of technology continuing, automation processes, and how all of this, it's easier to make things. 3D printing now. If you need 3D printing services, Catalyst Space got you covered.
Shameless plug.
Good plug. Good plug.
So, with things being developed more cheaply and being available and readily accessible more cheaply, I think there's certain futurists that say we're heading towards an age where goods are just getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And, that's an interesting concept to think about what a society would be like where we can all access materials, tools, and resources that we want to build whatever we want.
And you just would have to seek it out. I think it would be like the willingness, because
Yes.
you're looking at a lot of. I work with the youth a lot in my life, and I look at them and I'm saying, you guys are not. As I'm sitting here being skeptical and being weird about the technology, saying I don't like it, I'm looking at them saying, why are you guys not using this?
You got to get on.
Why are you not going out there using this to get yourself ahead? Because you don't want to be behind when it's time, you know what I mean, with your ideas. Use your ideas, go research it, do that stuff. And I think that is great for people to have access to that stuff. And I think we should just keep pushing that forward as long as the programmers. We gotta keep the programmers at bay. I don't want no crazy person behind their programming.
What are the ethics and accountability to the
Yes.
people building these things? And I think about this
that's a good question.
from advertising, because I think in some of the areas, government, Facebook, and marketing is probably one of the biggest areas where AI, outside of maybe the stock market's probably got some big AI investors,
Yes.
right? So guessing the trends, microtransact, that whole thing, micro whatever that
Yeah.
is called. But even in marketing, which is just where the circle that I'm in, like you can set up sequences of advertisements and experiences and talk anybody into doing just about anything. And like that's a very powerful thing. And like there's nobody talking about that. The only thing you can't do in marketing is make earnings disclaimers that you can't back up financially. Like you basically, if you make an earnings disclaimer, you have to guarantee it in your product, and you have to be able to show proof of it. Other than that, like
You could brainwash
you
all
can
day.
do whatever you want.
You can
Spirals in the
brainwash all
eyes,
day. Yeah. And I get that. And what we were talking about earlier, did you guys, like Dev said, the experience that I have, I catch it all the time, and I say it to people that are pretty much around the age barrier that don't want nothing to do with technology.
Yeah,
And they're
it's a
like,
certain
you're
point.
crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy what you're saying. No, they just did this right now, and they don't understand and they don't say it. Have you guys had experience at any time? What's like your weirdest experience that you were like, yo, this is weird? Like, what's the weirdest one where you're like, yeah, this I can't explain this. This is just not normal.
Like an advertisement thing?
Anything.
Recently, I was watching I was on Facebook and a video came up, and it actually combined a couple interesting concepts. So one was deep fakes.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm sure we can get on that topic. And
Yeah.
then it was him doing like impressions, and it would deep fake the person's face over him as he did it. And then I switched from Facebook to YouTube, and instantly popped up the behind the scenes of that video
Of making
that I was
it.
just watching
Yeah.
on Facebook. So now you have two different companies. Coincidence? Maybe, highly unlikely, but now two companies that are pretty much interacting
Right.
to continue my usage on the device. And of course, I had to watch it. So
And it was that fast. The feeling, though, can you explain? Were you kind of like spooked
definitely.
out, or was it you're like, oh my god, that was dope, that's awesome?
yeah,
Which
a little
one was
scared,
it?
but a little impressed at the same time.
Mixed feelings. I love it. I love
scared
it.
and impressed. That's exactly
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. I
100%.
definitely love it. How about you? Did you ever have one of those moments where you were just like, oh my god?
I've definitely had the talking about it and showing up in the ads, and I've seen that that's a pretty well documented thing by now. Everybody sort of has, not everybody, but a lot of people have. I'm fascinated by. I keep coming back to this. Is like you brought it up. What would we do if this all disappeared tomorrow? And that's probably the next podcast. That's the next podcast. Right?
That's the next
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Okay, you got to find your water source.
Yes,
Yeah.
we gotta eat.
Yeah, you gotta find your
I
food.
literally just had a conversation with a coworker of mine about what if like we had like a solar flare that wiped out the whole entire
Electromagnetic
electrical
pulse.
Yeah, that ripped out the whole entire. If someone EMP would be different because it'd be over like I'm talking like something that globally wipes
Okay.
out all of technology basically. Like
Theoretically, they say the sun could do that, right? If the
Yeah.
sun was like, "F you guys,"
yeah, it could just,
I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
right. And we were just having that conversation, and we were like, probably like 70% of the world's population would be gone. Probably, I'd say, because there's so many
it'd be
people.
mayhem, right?
Well, there'd just be. Here's what I think would happen. And no, hold on, stop. I'm cutting it off. We'll save it because this could be a whole show. Literally,
All right.
we're putting it in the bag. Everybody here
What's the
right now,
teaser?
write it down. I'll get the date set up for next year because we're booked pretty much till next year.
What's
for
the teaser?
guests. Huh?
What's
I don't
the
know.
teaser?
We're gonna make it though. We're gonna make a cool one. Like we're
Dev
actually
will
gonna
make a
film it.
promotional video for it.
I was
We'll
like
figure it
me,
out.
like out in the middle of the wilderness, and then we'll have Coach dressed up like a marauder who's gonna steal my food, and like we're gonna use knives. What's that?
You got to be
Afraid.
naked, right?
Right, naked, exactly. Wait, why do we gotta be naked?
Hold on for a
Wait
second. I do not want to be in this video.
Hold on, wait a
All
second.
that for a second.
Wait a second.
A banana leaf.
I said, yeah, we're gonna be naked. I was like, wait. I said, just because there's no technology, don't mean clothes would just disappear. Like, I would have clothes. You'd have clothes.
Everybody would be
For
clothed.
now, you can't wash them. They would eventually just like tatter out, right?
Yeah, right.
I
I
Deteriorate.
will say one thing about it though. Where we are geographically blessed because of the mountains in the water. I think Pennsylvania is like has the most running water per surface area anywhere in the world, I think.
Don't tell the public. We got our own little.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're gonna come here and take
zombie
our
apocalypse
water.
Coming over now.
Yeah,
They're
right.
gonna come take our
If
water.
they can make it, they're not gonna have cars. I mean, the car. No, there's they would have cars to drive it first, but then
They
they
run
would.
electronics.
Yeah, not all of them.
Spark plugs.
Yeah,
and
some,
stuff.
yeah, but old ones
Computer driven.
Maybe the old cars would survive.
survive.
Yeah.
but-
Oh, yeah. You gotta
but-
put gas in them
But
now,
where
buddy.
you gonna get the gas? You have to siphon it from other cars, which could work for a
Or
while.
they might bring back the invention when they said it was ran by water, right? Didn't that happen in the
Oh,
50s?
there's some
They
rumors
made a
about
car.
that.
Yes, I did some research. Might be a conspiracy thing,
No,
but
that guy
there's
died.
some information
That-
on
the
it.
guy-
Snuffed, right?
Yeah, he got snuffed out when they said, "Wait a minute, you can't just go to the creek and start your car up. We got gas to sell
Yeah,
you."
we got the oil industry
That could be a
that's-
possibility. But you said something interesting, Justin, about the deep fakes. I think
Can you
like
explain what the deepfake is? Because it took me a minute to remember. This is when they put a face on, or what is it exactly?
yeah, go ahead.
So you first start off with like all AI, a lot of training material. So you give
Okay.
the computer reference images and videos, and the scary part is that for influencers or people in the public eye, there's plenty of that available to train these computers, and then the computer learns the facial expressions, how the skin interacts with the movement, the kind of mannerisms that make that individual
Special, who he is.
special, yeah. And then you overlay that onto pretty much anyone else to the point where you can make that person pretty much say
Anything.
anything.
And we know, like, what I was trying to get at is like the election. We knew what was happening before. We didn't know what was happening at the time, but the research they did says that there was interference, and they're kind of saying that's what the deep fakes are because of just how. Let's just be honest. How Trump was elected is because, let's be honest, the core of the people that voted for him are not using technology that well. When they see something or hear him say something, they think that's law. So a deep fake saying something to them could make them go vote, you know what I mean? Just as much as it was showing them ads every day because it's believing it.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that. And I'm not saying the Trump voters are stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the majority of them
Older
are not
population.
using high technology and really doing the research. They're going off emotions. So something like a deep fake could turn this again too, where it could happen. Or it could go the other way. Like a Bernie could use it to get elected or something like that. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
see Bernie pulling that one.
You don't see Bernie pulling off the deep fake?
No. And
Yeah.
for one, he'd be asking kids about if they know where he can get some cocaine.
Wasn't that video crazy?
There's
I'm sorry,
there's
we're
a
going
funny
somewhere.
video from the the 1980s where Bernie Sanders was still of Vermont, right?
Yeah.
Was sitting down with a bunch on public access TV with a bunch of kids. And he's like they're literally like 8 or 9 years old. So they're like, you guys know any cocaine? He's like talking as if like he's looking for it. That's the problem. And he's like, you guys ever see any cocaine? Ever do any cocaine? We're 9. That's what the kid said. Like
The little girl said that out of her mouth, like, why are you asking me,
Asking,
basically, why are you asking me these questions? So I get it, but I do think, though, that that's something to work, because when I first seen the deep fakes, it kind of fooled me at first, without actually reading the caption. I seen it and was like, and I heard it, and then I was like, that's not something that person would say, and then I went and seen it. I was like, oh, I get
It comes
it.
back to, with AI, the accountability and the oversight, right? Like if you're going to create a piece of content in some way, that you should have a unique ID branded into that. Okay, this is so an authentication trail, which is almost like blockchain, right? You need to have an authentication trail towards whoever created it, whoever transacted it, etc. And I think a layer of accountability. This is just where my sniffer goes. Like there needs to be some sort of, and even if it's like your social security number, but like your universal internet ID. And that way, all of your it's trackable. And then people say, well, the government's going to see that and censor that. But if we don't have accountability to our actions in life, digitally or physically, like the whole thing kind of comes unglued, I think. So I don't,
True.
the anonymous actors it's a But then there would be people that gain that. They would take a grandma's internet ID, and then they would be acting under the grandma's ID. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
see,
it would
it'd
be
be,
easier to commit fraud.
It might be make it
Yeah.
easier.
Like I said, it's such a weird place because I think about the ramifications of the legality of AI and all the things it could possibly do to us in the future. Like I was thinking more so in the criminal side of things is like I saw this it was a video about talking about the fear of drones with AIs that are programmed to see your face. They're programmed like you find this person, kill him, recognize his face.
Recognition.
Yeah, and like I said, you have like a group of terrorists or something or whatever that like they have those things set up. Any target, just a little drone, probably about this big maybe, right? And it's just got a little bomb on it, and it's sole purpose: scan your head, sees your face, lands right here on your forehead, blows up, dead. Like I think it was a video. I'll have to find the video.
Like a pocket-sized drone.
Yeah, like a pocket-sized drone, and and they were thinking about it. Like there's swarms. Terrorists, if they wanted to, could just release swarms of these robots,
yeah.
and it's like without a trace. I mean, they're gonna blow up, and maybe there's a little bit of components left. But I mean, how are you really gonna get a vibe of who did what? Just think about how to me, that's the most dangerous idea. That's reality, probably within the next 5 years. That's
And
reality.
I think it goes into the programming, like we keep going back to, what are the safeguards because let's be honest, if I had the knowledge, can't I sit here and program something? Like, what are the safeguards from stopping that to go into mass production into our everyday lives that one day could turn on us? I think that's where it's at. Is there safeguards where people are they looking at my mental state? Are they, constantly saying, let's recheck his work, check his work to make sure what he's doing is not, you know what I mean? There's something down the line. And I think that's what we have to kind of worry about when it comes to this age in AI and all the way that technology is growing. We have to have people safeguarding it. And who do we choose to do that?
Yeah, right.
Who
You know
watches
what I
the
mean?
watchers?
Yeah, who
right.
watches the watchers?
I think you're going to see a very similar evolution to when computers first came out, and you had malicious intent in the form of viruses. And to counter that, you had antivirus software. And you're actually seeing that. I think deepfakes is a great example where they're actively now making software to detect the deepfakes. So you're
detect imitations.
Detect imitations, yeah. So detect malintent, maybe.
Yeah, and
It's gonna be a whole new industry.
there's a
So there's going to be hold on real quick before you start, because that was a great point. There's going to be a whole new industry. So people are worried about AI taking jobs, but is it going to make more jobs than they're taking?
That's basically what the argument is, right? Even
Yeah,
though
that's
it's
always-
knocking down
that's always
old
been the argument.
jobs, it's actually knocking out the worst jobs, the most menial jobs, the things people don't want
I
to do.
want to do, and they complain, I don't want to be paid minimum wage for this, and instead,
Well,
it
get
would-
on the internet, watch some YouTube videos for free like I did. Teach yourself how to build websites. I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I taught myself how to build websites with YouTube. You can learn anything you want on the internet. You don't have an excuse anymore, whoever's out there saying they can't do a minimum wage.
Boom. Say that again. There's no excuses.
There's no excuse
We don't
anymore,
like
guys.
excuses. You
Anybody
just
listening?
make
Yeah.
bad decisions. Period. If
Get
you're
on the
not
internet.
okay with your life, you make bad decisions.
Find something you love, become good at it, and start helping others with it, and that it just evolves. Today, in this day and age, if anybody saw my Facebook post earlier this week, you can make a living doing anything you want if you're willing to apply yourself and learn the skills to do it.
yeah.
And it's so easy at the drop of the hat. Like Justin has his computer right there. You can literally get a idea and then go figure it out.
That's it.
Yeah, there's-
Phone,
How to
everything.
blank.
Figure it out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's what I was going to say in the because I was saying about the counterbalance to they would create all these jobs and everything, but I'm saying like how would you protect yourself from one of those drones I was just talking about metaphorically? like how would you
Dev,
protect
are
yourself?
you making drones in your
No. I'm saying how would you protect yourself? And it just hit me because I remembered him saying EMP. You would almost have to have like politicians instead of like not just having like people who have a bulletproof vests or whatever. You'd have to have like a thing in your pocket like an EMP-esque thing, like electromagnetic field that like as soon as something got in
there
it
you
would
go.
just turn off. But that's crazy. Like imagine having to like you're someone like a public figure and to be safe, you're like, all right, so no one sends a drone at me to kill me. Put this in my pocket so it sends out like an EMP field around me so they can't
That's
get
a
close
big-
enough.
Yeah, that fries everybody's phone.
Jammers is a real thing for drones, and honestly, I'm surprised that specific scenario that you described hasn't occurred already, because
Yeah.
the accessibility of drones and the maneuverability of them is quite impressive. So I'm sure it's just a matter of time, but
In the defense of it, I always believe this. We mentioned earlier, like you said, the stock market had AI involved in it. I watched in depth on a 60 Minutes episode that I went in and researched it. That there was a time there that they were using the technology AI to get the numbers faster than everybody else.
That's
It was
right,
like
yeah.
split seconds, but they
Well,
were able to make that
And it's
move
also
and
about
get the money.
the distance between the data centers. Like if you're closer to data centers, you're getting data faster. Your AI is interpreting faster, and you're making those trades faster.
Yes.
It's a whole crazy.
It's
thing.
it's a ball game if you got it just not even a second, they were saying. It wasn't even a second that they were getting it faster. And I think that's what and saying that, I think I truly believe there is people out here technologically, like we have scientists that truly believe they're not going to use that for bad when they know they can, and then they're going to fight everything. I think there's programmers out there that are just as equally saying,
Right.
I don't need a check. I love this shit. I'm going to combat you guys from stopping you from doing it. Does that balance out as we go up with technology? Or I think it's been like that of every age. There's always somebody combating that. But as technology is here now and you can make so much money, you think that the superheroes are going down and the criminal, you know what I mean?
There's
I'm
always
sorry,
a
we're
balance.
talking about criminology because it's on my mind.
Well, there's a balance there. I think there's always like a force. There's an action and then there's a reaction, and when something bad happens, the force comes to balance that. And I think what you were saying about jamming and you know when antivirus came out, there's always a tit for a tat. And but I think in a lot of ways it's up to us to build it, especially people with interest in this that are watching this today. I mean, you know, you got to think about that. Like, is there opportunity out there to build a sufficient living for yourself? 100% there is. And some of these things that we just talked about here about the rising industries and the emerging industries, if you go on YouTube and look for artificial intelligence right now, like there's no major players capturing the content game right now. There's no major shows about artificial intelligence. There's nobody like us that's smart and bringing knowledge around us. That whole industry is wide open for thought leadership, for people who are smart with this sort of thing, for people who want to create solutions. Yes, the universities around the country have artificial intelligence departments. Facebook's obviously into it, but like this is a brand new industry, and even though things move fast with technology, ultimately we're humans and we evolve at a certain rate, and things take 5 to 10 years to get fleshed out into the world at large. And while artificial intelligence has been around a little bit, it's really come on in the last few years, and it's going to continue exponentially. So if you want a field to get in that's going to pay well, start building some expertise. Grab a few books off Amazon, read them. If you read 2 books from Amazon about artificial intelligence, you're already going to be in like the 10th percentile of the whole world who knows about artificial intelligence. From there, start a blog, write about it, do what you got to do, get yourself on a YouTube channel or a podcast like you're doing, and before long you can start making money with that stuff.
No way. Listen, that's great. All right, guys, we're done with this show forever. We're going to go ahead and start a new AI podcast. You can check us out at Bridging the AI.
Hold on. No, go ahead.
Sponsored by Doritos.
Sponsored by
Frito-Lay.
jalapeno Doritos. But in saying that, when I was younger, like we said, that's why we do this show, Bridging the
Nacho cheese gets no love? Like
Nah,
only
nacho
jalapeno?
cheese, get them out of here.
Okay.
This is why we do Bridging the Gap, is because the differences of it. In saying that, when I was younger and I was introduced to computers, we were playing some weird pinball game.
Pong?
Pong, something like that. It was Apple. It just was introduced. It was on a green screen. You know, it was like, okay, this is cool, but it wasn't. But my computer programming teacher used to come by me, pretty much smack me in the head and say, learn to do this. And I used to be like, no, I'm going to hang out with chicks and smoke weed and do this. No, learn to do this. Like he would just screw with me every day and say, learn to do this. This is what's going to help you. And I didn't pay attention to it, or I would have been ahead of the game.
Sure.
So should we, in saying that, like my kids, I always tell my kids, learn more than what they're teaching you. Go find out things, question things, learn that, so you can get ahead and you can find your niche and you can go ahead and crush it.
Yeah.
Should that be taught to our kids in school, or do we depend on, like, what you run some program back there with kids? I coach football. It's totally different, but you're showing kids things that they might not necessarily get in school. Do we think that should be taught in school to our kids?
I think if you're referring to like programming,
Yeah.
I really think I'm a believer that everyone should learn some sort of programming, because it is applicable in any field, even if it's automating some minute task. Like, you can use it to enhance your own life, but it's also a skill set that I think is only growing in demand, and that's not going to change anytime soon. And kind of wrapping back to the scary parts of AI, I think there's a lot of people who are going to underestimate what jobs are actually going to be replaced by AI. A lot of even creative work. Photo editing, video editing, video creation.
had to
I
check
can
some of the-
replace you with a computer.
And well, the how it's sneaking up on us is, do you guys have Android or use Google?
Android, gang.
Android.
Gang.
Use their Google Photos.
What would you say?
Google Photos. They use Google Photos.
No, not really on
No?
Android. No.
If you use Google Photos, so you take pictures or whatever, upload them to Google Photos, and then every now and then it'll say, look, I created a video composite.
They
for
just
you
start using
automatically.
your content and making something
and
for
they
you.
give it to you, but it's compiled in such a way that it's almost the same quality that you'd pay somebody to make that content.
Yeah.
It's being made and given to you for free automatically.
There's a app like that too. I can't think what it's called, but like you just take pictures throughout the day, and then it collages it, makes it up for you into like some kind of thing. Also, Kiki Dybert says the fucking finger guns.
What's up, Kiki? Happy birthday with your pretty self. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, happy 21st. I don't know. Are you drunk yet? I don't know, because she's been out drinking since like 8 a.m. I swear. I woke up this morning and like she was at like 2 different bars. So, and she's supposed to come
you
back
could
down
do
here.
that. She works hard. She
Yeah,
works
she
hard all
does.
year. And she's
I
trying
was
to get somewhere.
wondering-
Go ahead.
She's
Enjoy
gonna,
it.
she's gonna come back down to Altoona. She's going from Bedford down here to drink. And I'm still wondering, Kiki, how are you gonna be feeling tomorrow? Like, are you really gonna be feeling like let's go out again? I don't know, man. Like, have you been drinking all day? Like, she's never like actually, gone out. So whenever she goes out, I'm really wondering. Like, the next day she's like, oh my god, wow. Like,
So when we're learning our like me, like I said, I'm an old school dinosaur. I don't want to learn things, so I kind of like suck off. You know what I mean? I'd be like, teach me things quicker than I have to go do with the younger people, and then I say, well, I don't want to do this. I want to be the human part. I want to go get the feeling and all that type stuff. When we're learning our craft, like Dev, he's learning his craft. Should he make time in his day to always say, let me think about where it's going? Not like what I'm doing. Should I jump, like take some time out and gather information and try to speculate and maybe come up something himself, to put out there? You know what I mean? Is that like something, does that make sense?
There's a couple ways to do that, at least from a business development standpoint. Like if you're in an industry and you want to excel in it, one of the fastest ways to do it is to jump on a train that's already moving. In terms of, if an app comes out, you have a good at least 6 months to see what it's doing, and then you have maybe another 6 months to kind of really get on the bandwagon. It's about awareness, I think. I think it's about awareness, but also specialization. Like, you just can't know it all. He knows a side of technology. I know a side of technology. And there's so many areas that, like, it can really, you got to go where your interest is. That's what you have to follow, in my opinion. Where do you have a natural inclination? When you're not being told what to do, when you don't have to study on certain things, when you get to choose what you get to do, and what is it that you're looking into? What holds your interest? And then double down on that. That's the only thing to me that sustains me for working hard to produce results. It's like, I've got to have an interest in it, and I've got to have buy-in in that way, or I could care less about it.
yeah.
Right.
Well, that actually brings up a thing that it's kind of off the topic, but I don't really care. I was thinking about gaming. Because people love gaming, and they're like, because you said about, find something to hold your attention and focus. But games, man, games hold people's focus and attention like
Maybe too
real hard. Yeah, like real hard. And I think what gaming is going to be like what SoundCloud rappers are. Everybody's going to want to be a pro gamer. All of them. Like, I really think that's going to happen. Where like everybody's going to be, I'm going to be a professional player.
But there's been a millionaire this year.
Right.
A professional gamer millionaire.
There has been, right. And great for them. But I'm saying, like, are we going to see it where, like, we're going to have, like, so many people that are like, I'm a professional gamer, and, like, they're going to have their Twitter handles and stuff, and, like, all those people in my generation that really are going to try to make a career out of that. Yeah. I mean, I see some people trying to do it, and streaming is already, like, a good way of people making money, especially if you're a girl and you have, maybe low-cut shirts And yeah, so
Look at
don't
Mr.
make
Beast.
that a negative thing, bro.
Do we know
Yeah.
Mr. Beast?
Don't make
it's not
that
a negative thing. Hey, you're paying the money. I'm just saying. I was giving out help. If you, ladies, you got a low cut shirt and you can play a video game, hold a controller.
If you're photogenic and you can play a video game, you got a leg up in this new
in this world,
face forward world.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's face forward. That's kind of why we do the show, because like we don't have people that get to meet up and have these kind of conversations like we're having. Usually it's like, oh, that's cool, like it. They just leave a little like.
And
Superficial.
yeah, true. Earlier on, we had maybe around March, we had a conversation about this sub. That's where I got into it. They signed artificial intelligence out of Germany as a music artist, the first a music artist. The dudes wrote the program, and there's like, and they
Now
threw it
it
out
just
there.
makes
And the
music?
company, it was a major. I forgot which company it was, but it's a major music company. They signed it as an artist, and they just sitting back, don't have to do nothing because they programmed it
Make
to
music.
do. And they had that conversation. That's all they had to do. Write the program, go to them, say okay, and now they walk away from it because they're going to let the program do whatever it says, and they agreed upon it.
Hopefully it's not a one-hit wonder.
Oh,
Yeah,
I want to
that's
see
what I'm
the music. Like, is that what it's going to be like? Are we going to be able to, like, as quick as possible, bridging the gap? Is there going to be a program?
Well, yeah, right. Well, I was thinking about theoretical physicist. I can't remember his name. Apaku.
Michio Akaku.
Akaku, yeah. And he said that,
Futurist,
like,
right?
yeah, and he was saying about AI, and when he had his conversation about it, he said, in the future, the jobs like musicians, AI won't be able to place these things. And then whenever a coach told me that, I was like, you lying son of a, I was like, this is going to take over that. So then it's almost like, what are you going to do? I mean, if we lived in a world, right, where AI basically did everything for us, and we could just lay around and eat Doritos and sit at a couch and talk
You
about
and these
AI.
fucking Doritos.
Listen,
You better get
I
that check
have sent
tomorrow.
3 invoices as we've sat here. That's why I had to walk away a couple times to Frito-Lay, and we are going to get a check for a small check, a small loan of
Or at least free
$1 million.
Doritos for a month or something.
Yeah,
What was that
that'd
movie
be
called? Wall-E, right? That's exactly
Wall-E.
what happened.
Yep. All the computers took over, and then they trashed the planet first. The planet went to crap, so they built a ship, and the ship, they made robots and AI that would take care of them forever in the ship. And then eventually, of course, the fat people on the ship were like, "Man, this sucks," and then they went back to Earth. Anyway, that's the plot of Wall-E. If you guys were interested.
If you want to know,
Yeah.
we're plugging everything today.
Yeah.
So going back to that, and I just think like to me like looking at it, that my question was in all of this overall, why I want to have this conversation is there going to be like when as the technology grows and the AI grows, because the service industry never dies, right? Can we say that right now? Like service people are needed to service things. So when the technology takes over this job, are people, like we asked before, I don't think I got this answer, is there going to be more jobs created because of that, maintaining them, if it's just, wiping them down, making sure they're, able to handle what they're doing, is that going to create jobs? Or is it going to be that people are going to be on the unemployment line, and it's going to cause more problems for us as a human race?
Yeah, I guess in some ways it's anybody's guess. I think it's certainly going to wipe out a lot of the more easily dissolved positions in ways like I think you said. You might be surprised. I know with my end, like salespeople, like you're
Automated. You're going to become
you're
automated.
you might be in an interesting place. However, if you're a salesperson and you learn how the automation process works, then you can do the power of what 100 salespeople can do. But I think sales, just to speak to my niche, like salespeople are potentially on that chopping block, because I can build a website that can do what 10 to 100 salespeople can do, which is interesting. However, you would almost think sales might not be able to be outsourced, but I think in a lot of ways it can be, or automated. What else could there be? I mean, ideally we would get rid of the more damaging jobs, right? The things where people are being hurt and harmed over long-term processes.
In the warehouse all
Chemicals,
day,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Or just the mundane, the jobs people don't want.
Repetitive.
Like a cash register.
Farming, you can make somebody go down there and cut everything
Could be.
precisely. get the pick the crops precisely at the right time. You can make an AI for that.
Yeah.
So but I just like me looking at that and thinking about that. I just don't see like the people that will be displaced, that there's going to be enough jobs to like maintain and service because AI, if you're Dev, you just looked at me like you're AI. Are you AI? You're out there and Dev's my AI.
That's what AI is
He's
like.
going to do probably like 20 people's jobs
Yeah.
faster than them people going to work. So those 20 people are going to be displaced to where?
I think a lot of retraining, re-education is going to be necessary, but it's going to have to be you're going to have to learn a lot more than you ever really
Fast, microwavable, yeah,
Right.
fast.
Right, but I think that would require, and this is like kind of like we got to get closer to wrapping up, but I did want to say that about education. Because of that, you would have to reconstruct what education is.
Yeah.
Because you would have to tell, like, from the kindergarten level, I'm talking, you would have to be like, these are now the things you need to know. Because you need to know about robotics, and you need to know about you need to know all that stuff instead of like
A whole new curriculum.
Like what did George Washington wear in 1950? You know, whatever. Well, he didn't wear anything; he was dead. But you get the gist. That these little facts that we have to. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 14.
Yeah, regurgitation
Rewrite the
stuff.
curriculum.
And it's got to be, and it's got to be. I mean, already I think education needs to be more focused, right? And I think that especially from like a younger age, it needs to be like, what are you interested in, and then it needs to be honed. But that's what I agree upon is like the education system would have to be completely reformatted, and also certain jobs would be not worth educating, and because we have to reteach so many people with how, especially the older generation, we would have to make education more affordable. If we didn't, we wouldn't be able. There's no way. How are people going to go back to school to rehabilitate themselves into society to do jobs that have been wiped out within their lifetime?
YouTube.
Yeah, I think it goes right back to this free method of education.
Right.
Just go
You
seek
have
it.
to-
Oh,
yeah.
Seek it. Get motivated and go seek it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, because
basically.
I'm the same way as Kyle is that everything I've learned how to do, like you guys watching this live stream, all this junk, I've watched YouTube tutorials, and then whenever I didn't know something and like I didn't want to watch one, I fiddled with stuff until I figured it out, and and that's great and everything. It's awesome, and I also agree with what you're saying about the college route too. As of right now, to me, it's almost like a scam.
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If
right.
You're going to be a surgeon, maybe, but if you're going to be,
I definitely
liberal
want my
arts-
surgeon to go to college.
Yeah, what I'm saying, like for most things that people go to school for, honestly,
them.
you
Yeah.
could just
You
learn.
could YouTube it.
As long as you're personable.
You could YouTube it.
If you're personable and willing to learn,
Willing to learn. Yeah.
then you could do it, because it's like 50% who you know, and it's like 50% putting in the work and learning everything. It really is. So but those are kind of the things. We've asked the question: do we think artificial intelligence is just a wrap up? Do we think artificial intelligence is going to be the bright new future, or do we think it's going to be our potential doom? What do you guys think? We'll start with Justin.
Definitely a bright new future side of things, and I think it's kind of already here, and it's in more ways than a lot of people realize.
Kyle.
It has its challenges, but I think you find it when you sample 100 people, like 80 to 90% of them are generally peaceful and will never commit violent crimes. Generally, people want the same things. They want a safe place to raise their family. They want enough resources to do it with, and they want to be left the hell alone outside of that. So I think generally the compass points north in terms of we're probably headed to some pretty good and amazing places. And if you look back over the last 6,000 years, nothing changed. Like from Egypt onward, like nothing's changed until like basically the 1900s. Like for the last 6,000 years, everybody's been doing things the same way, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in a crazy age where you have all this opportunity. But on the individual level, it's what you make of it. So that's my speech.
Listen, I'm on the side of saying I love the progression. You guys go ahead and make it happen. Cut me in when you make a deal. But I'm going to be out here superheroing, watching that percentage of people that are out there to do some messed up
And
stuff.
we need that
You're going to
too.
be happy one day when I walk in here and be like, that guy over on the corner just created something that's going to destroy us. You know what I mean? So I look at it that way, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just the final thought here on what do I think. I think that AI and its progression is a great thing, and I really do believe in the mentality that we have to evolve with it. And as Kyle said, it's going to present a lot of challenges, and I also agree it's going to be a bright new future. But of the challenges it's going to present, there are going to be some things that and just like the world we live in now, it's going to create capabilities for people to cause harm to people. But throughout society, and as we've evolved, we as a society, we've seen that when new innovations come, there's people out there that find ways to use it for bad, and then there's people that find a way to use it for good. So I think realistically, what we're going to see out of AI here in at least our lifetimes that are watching this is that great things are going to come of it. And we're just going to have to be wary and careful of the people that will do bad with it, whether that's the big corporations that'll take all of our information, whether that's the terrorist organizations that may be trying to kill us with it, whatever have you. But those risks far weigh out the fears or the good that will be done. So I think that's my stance on AI. So I think from this roundtable, the unanimous conversation is that yay AI, I think.
Yes, I'm for it.
Right.
Full steam ahead into the future.
But as always, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, allow me. I'm so rude. I was just about to just wrap up the show.
Dev.
Listen,
Damn
I
it.
thank you guys so much for coming on to the show. Again, if you guys need to, if anybody's still here watching the show right now, because I about ended it, shameless plugs. Do you guys need to do any shameless plugs again?
Get your 3D printing in Catalyst space.
Boom.
Start your business. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Mediated media.
Mediated media. Need some content made? Come to us. Anyway, stay beautiful. Take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your night. And watch out because someone in this very room may be AI.
Uh-oh.
Have a good night. Bye.